Hi, I'm Vincent from Australia, and you're listening to That Wrexham Podcast.
Today on That Wrexham Podcast, we have Kev Mulholland, Head of Performance and Sports Science.
Correct.
That's a fancy title for a glorified masseur, I'd say.
Oh, Toze! That's nasty.
Would you say...
He's absolutely biting already.
What is it then? Tell us about your role.
Yes, so you're correct. Head of Performance and Sports Science here at Wrexham Football Club. So looking after sort of all the players on a day-to-day basis, just making sure that we can keep them as fit as they can be, looking after all the rehab and getting them back on the pitch as quickly and safely as possible. But what a lot of people probably don't realise is they hear Head of Performance and Head of Sports Science, they probably just only think that that's for the first team and the men's team, but it also incorporates the women's team and the academy, which are really important to Wrexham and to the football club and to the community. So quite a big, broad role, really.
So that is that's everyone. You're head of full wellness, physio, making sure players are fit for the Saturday afternoon. Big responsibility, right?
Yeah, so Head of Performance, Sports Science will cover physio, doctors, analysis, psychology, all them types of things that fall under. But again, as we mentioned, for the first team, women and the academy, so it's quite a large team, quite a large number of staff throughout the club.
So not only that, obviously you're covering all of them kind of bases, and obviously I've seen all that firsthand, to be fair, from where the academy was initially, the women's team, and now obviously where you've taken the men's team too. But I mean, is it fair to say this summer's probably been the busiest window that you've had?
Yeah, I think I've been almost 20 seasons in professional football now across sort of all leagues in England and international level. I can't remember a busier transfer window than when we've had this year. 14 players coming through the door and a lot of players leaving as well, which is part and parcel of football, but always a hard thing and sad to see some players go. But in terms of the numbers of players coming in, you've got 14 players coming in the first team, but you've got all the new scholars coming in the academy. You've got a big change over in the women's side of football where a lot of new players coming in on that side.
So are you
as
overseeing
well.
the medicals of them as well?
No, so we have a women's medical team in place. We have an academy's medical team in place, and what we try and make sure is that the sort of policies and procedures for all new players coming into the club are aligned so that all players are treated with the utmost respect, and we have everything in place for them that's needed.
Can you break down a medical for us then? Okay, so like you say, it's been the busiest summer probably you've ever had in football. 14 incomings, right? Can you, from the very get-go, how does a medical start to happen?
Yeah, I think our medical sort of and transfer policy probably started quite quickly after the Charlton game and getting promoted. I think there was a few celebrations in there for players and staff. But Phil and his coaching staff, the management team and the board all started sort of looking at potential targets quite early on. When we get involved, as the manager will normally give me a call and say, listen, we're looking at these 3 or 4 players for this position. Can you have a little look into them? Just do a little bit of background research on them. So I'll start by doing a little bit of digging into them, sort of how much they've played in the last couple of seasons. Have they had any significant injuries? Have they missed much time?
Have you got a database that you can use to look at injuries and how many games and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we got a various number of databases that we use. So, for example, we can use Huddle to look at the match minutes when they've played. There's other online sort of databases that can give us information on how many times players missed games or they were suspended or it was through injury or illness. So we can get all that information sort of pretty easy and available to us. So, for example, if we wanted to look at your injury record before you signed for us and you were playing, we could quite easily get that.
Do you ever rule anybody out kind of from the get-go? So if he gives you 3 players, A, B and C, say you take 10, 15 minutes looking at each, just getting a bit of a gauge, are you straight away going, mate, I don't think C's going to work?
But is it as simple as looking at literally how many games they've played the season before? Or say you signed them in January, they've played 20 games up till January. You disregarding whether they've been available for training? It's just all about availability for the game.
No, you never disregard anybody because, listen, you've been in clubs and been in teams where you've been training and not involved and not selected, and it could be a fitness issue, it could be a selection issue. You don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So a player will never be ruled out based on on availability and many games they played. And the same way, we'll never rule a player out on injury record or injury history, really. Our job and my job as head of performance is to show the manager, this is the player, this is availability, this is his training load, this is how many games he played, this is his injury record. We will never sort of say no to a player just because they were injured, because you could have someone with a knee injury and it can be a contact knee injury that they could do nothing about, or you could have a player who's just been unlucky and picked up a couple of niggles. Maybe they played too soon, maybe they forced themselves and didn't say anything to the medical team. So I think you might have 3 or 4 players in the same position and you sort of feedback on what you found in them players, and at the end of the day it's up to the manager and the board to pick which of them players they want to go for, and then we'll fall into the medical process and procedures that we will follow to make sure the club get everything that they need to make sure that player can come.
So the bid's been made?
Yeah, the bid's been made. So obviously the gaffers rang you. Firstly, really quickly, who knows? So obviously is it just you and the gaffer, or is it you? Do you tell your medical staff? Do you have to keep it to yourself?
Behind the scenes, I'm pretty sure that the board are aware, the owners will be aware, the manager will be aware, and the coaching staff, our analyst staff will be aware as well, because they'll have been doing lots of research on, does the player fit into our playing style, can they perform the metrics and the demands that the manager will want in the game in terms of, do they cover enough distance, are they capable of doing the high speed sprint distance that we will look for in certain positions, and then apart from that, then I'll probably get a call from either from the manager or Sean or Michael and just say, listen, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead with this player. Can you do a little bit of sort of firmer research on it? Make sure all your preliminary research is correct, that you're happy with that information. And then sort of we build on from there. The manager will normally call again, or Sean, and say, listen, yeah, we've got to go ahead from the player, the player's agent and the player's club, that we can proceed with a medical.
And then what? You basically take them. Do you do it here? Do you take them to somewhere else, or what?
So probably at that stage, I'll get the players and the agent's number, and myself and Adam will make contact with the player and the agent, find out where they're located, where they live, where they can travel to, sort of how quickly can we get the medical done and get it booked in. Is generally, right, we can go with the medical, get it done, because we want to get the player signed as quickly as possible. So we'll arrange to have a medical with the player, and we use a facility based in Manchester to perform our medicals now. And the reason we do that is because we've got everything that we need there. So everything from when the player arrives to when they leave, we've got all our tests, all our screening.
We're talking MRI scanners, CT scanners, X-rays, all of that stuff.
Yeah, so we'll get past players' medical records, which we'll have from our research as started. Players will undergo a physio assessment in Manchester, where we use. We'll do a full, complete doctor's assessment as well. Players will then have their blood test done, which we have our standardised structured blood test that we do to make sure that there's no issues from that point of view. They'll then go on and have their cardiac ECG and echo scans done to make sure from a cardiac aspect that we're not missing anything in that. And then either, depending on the position, they'll have a full body MRI scan, sort of ankle, knees, pelvis, back.
How does that differ from the medical that you had when you signed here?
I don't think I did much. It was like, cough, hold on, hold your, you're fine, mate, you're fine. Yeah, you're fine. Let me have a look at that.
I'm going to set the record straight on this one. I'm going to set the record, and I hope Ben backs it up here. I was away with the Republic of Ireland on international duty when you signed, and the manager rang me and goes, Kevin, how are you? I said, hi Gaffer, how are you? Got good news for you. You signed Ben Foster today. I was like, brilliant. Has he had a medical? Yes, it was done. So I think I met Ben after about 5 or 6 days when I came back. And obviously we'd known each other through mutual friends and bits and pieces at West Brom and Southampton.
I filled in a questionnaire. Yeah. Like, do you feel all right? Yep.
Text message, you right? Do you feel okay? Yes.
Why your N?
There was a poll on WhatsApp. Literally. Right, so, do you remember our medical? And how far the medicals come from now to then?
Yeah, I think, you look back at your medical, I think we probably done it here at the stadium.
No, we did that in Southampton. So it was
we did.
The day before.
We done yours in Eastleigh, and we done it in the hotel. That was National League days, wasn't it? So obviously...
So no scans? Did he have no scans or anything?
He had no scans, no. So
wow. To be fair, I remember in my medical as well, like we did like my knees and stuff. We went through my history, and obviously my knee was a bit bad and whatever. But you kind of like, listen... The gaffer knows that you're always available.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. There's no real massive red flags. it's all good to go.
I've just got to tick some boxes.
From
That's
what
it.
I remember, it was that. There was nothing clear in the
I think
obvious.
looking back then, obviously the club were National League. We didn't have the budget in place that we have now. And it was always one of them that the gaffer picked the players that he wanted. We do our research on you. We knew obviously what clubs you're at and where you're playing and stuff like that. And the only reason we'd scan then is if someone came in and it was like, right, his ankle's really unstable here or his knee's massively swollen. We're like, right, okay, let's have a look at that. It was basically, if we need to scan you, we'll scan you on basis of a physical
Of a
medical.
glaring
But
something.
What's the worst injury you've actually had? Like here or anywhere?
On a medical.
on a medical,
Medicals start with.
generally these days, most people are generally fit. And again, you go back to when you're recruiting players and you're talking about, do you ever rule a player out? You don't. I've had medicals with players where you look at their scans and you're like, I don't know how this guy's playing.
Good job you didn't stand right here.
But them players are playing week in, week out in Premier League Championship, and then you get a scan and you look at it and you're like, well, there's not a lot wrong here. And then the player's like, oh, my knees in pieces. I can't do this. I can't do that. So again, scans are there, but you can't always just rely on a scan or a scan report.
So the further Wrexham get up in the leagues, then, okay. So this summer we've broken our transfer record, okay. When you're starting to talk about millions, right, and you get a scan and you go, I don't know how this guy's playing week in, week out. Like, this starts to get really risky, doesn't it?
Yeah. Listen, I think that's where your experience comes in, isn't it? And you build a good, strong medical team around you. So when Toze joined, it was myself doing the medical. We've now got Dr. Dave Perry, who's full time at the club, which is a really good thing and a really big thing for a championship team to have a full time doctor. So you're not making decisions isolated. You're bouncing ideas off each other. You're discussing it with the doc. You're discussing it with the board, and you're saying, listen, these are the findings. These are the risks. We're not saying no, we're not saying yeah, we're identifying all the information you need to make the decision, because at the end of the day, it's the club that's paying the transfer fee, it's the club that's paying the salary. We will do everything we can to get that player in a position to be available for as many games as possible.
Yeah, so basically you can't fail a medical, is it?
Yeah, so in 20 odd years I've never failed a medical. Again, as we sort of identified, it's about sort of identifying the risks involved with a medical for each player. And listen, every player is going to be different. So it's not a clear, this player's failed, we're not going to sign him. It's not a clear, yeah, he's fine. Because at the end of the day, football's a contact sport, and you can do a medical on someone who's got absolutely no issues. And they play their first game and they get a contact injury and they're out. So yeah, it's more of identifying the risks involved with signing players rather than a pass or fail.
And what is the worst injury you've seen? So take away medicals away now. The guy's passed his medical. The club have signed him. Happy as Larry. The season started. What's the worst injury you've had to deal with so far?
The worst injury?
When you've gone on the pitch or seen him and you've been like, this is bad.
Can we identify one where we carry a player off on a stretcher and then they play 2 days later?
We can identify that if you want.
Is that possible?
That don't happen. That don't happen.
What happened there?
Why would you want to be carried off and then play 2 games later?
I think we carried a centre-back off against... we were away from home. Was it Aldershot?
Aldershot, yeah.
Aldershot. Yeah. And it was torrential rain. I just think you didn't want to play in the rain.
Are we talking about Ben Toze here? This is a disgrace. Toe, you make out you're the most hardcore, professional, reliable. I'll be there. Don't worry. I'll be there.
No. Can I defend myself? Like genuinely. Yeah. So like I'm on the floor and I just sort of thought I broke my leg, and I'm saying, it's bad. But I'm like, no. I don't want to be dragged off. I don't want to be carried off the pitch. I don't want to be carried off the pitch. Kev comes on. No. We need to put you in a stretcher just in case. And I got battered for it.
Yeah, you deserve every bit of it as well.
Even up to this day. But still, I was fit for the next game.
I remember a very different story on the pitch. But listen,
tell it. Go on.
So we get onto the pitch and Toze was like, Kev, I can't feel my leg. Kev, I can't move. So he's lying there and his legs shaking like that. I can't move. I was like, well, Toze, you're not going to be able to walk off, are you? No, Kev. And there was some language. Say, I can't move. It's like, right, well, do you want us to put you on a stretcher? It's the only safe way we can get you off the pitch because it's raining and you're getting wet, it's cold. The ref's putting a little bit of pressure on us. So we're like, yeah, we're getting the stretcher. So we get him on the stretcher and we can hardly get you in the door, can we? Because the dress.
Bad. Have you ever been to Aldershot? You probably never been to Aldershot, have you? You've never
Mate, I'm never going to look at you in the same way ever again. I always held you in such high esteem. I really did.
I was like, listen, I'll be all right. So I started wearing shin pads in training. I bought these special like shock shin pads. Honestly, I bought these shock shin pads because and that kept happening. The ball kept coming. I kept hitting it in the same spot. I was like, the gaffer's going, you're right. I'm like, yeah, I'm all right, yeah. And I did a medical on the morning of the game, and I still play. I remember literally played Chesterfield, and the lads on the pitch for Chesterfield saying, hang on a sec, you got dragged off. I thought you broke your leg. I thought you were going to be playing.
So this instance here then, Kev, yeah, this seems to me like it's a little bit of a mental block, something, right?
No, it was bad, wasn't it?
No, obviously
it's bone bruising.
Listen, it's sore. You play 2 days later, right? In your head, it's a really bad injury, right? The question is, how much do you see now of players where a lot of it is in their head?
I think it's hard, isn't it? Every single player is different, aren't they? So every player is different from the background. Some come up through academies, some played Sunday League football. I think a lot of that impacts on how the players react on the pitch. If you're at a real high elite academy level where you're 9-10 years of age and you've got sports scientists, soft tissue therapists, physios around you, you can, I think in my opinion, you become a little reliant on them. Whereas if you're playing National League, you're playing Sunday League football, Saturday League football where you don't have them facilities, I think you just tend to get on with it, don't you?
A bit more robust.
So if you get a bang, someone's on the sideline saying, get up and get on with it, aren't they? So I think that makes it sort of a big impact. And I think the higher you go in terms of the Championship and Premier League, where you get players coming in from different cultures, different backgrounds as well, I think that pays a lot into it as well. And in terms of players coming maybe from Italy compared to players coming from America and France, they've all got different backgrounds, they're all treated differently, all grew up differently. And I think the social side of it plays a big role in how players act on the pitch. And the biggest issue that you get, again, when you get into Championship Premier League is you start getting a lot of players from maybe Spain, Portugal, France, and English isn't their first language. So when you're trying to communicate with them on the pitch, my accent's a little bit difficult to deal with in the first place. But when you're trying to speak to someone who's fluent in French and they're only learning English and then they can't understand this little Irish guy and you're like, are you okay? Do you think you can continue? It gets a little bit tricky then. So you have to put Kevin. All that. J'adore football is probably about all the French that I would know.
To be fair, like, I never wanted to be injured because I could not stand being in the physio room. I hated it.
I love being in the physio room before training.
Because you want to be in there socialising.
Yeah, because it's lovely. That's like the physio room is that, Kev, isn't it? You know this. The physio room is where everybody goes. You get your brew in the morning, you get your phone out, have a look at this, have a look at that.
But like, I've always found as well that becomes like a nice area to be. So then people want to be injured and want to be in there and be happy to be there. Do you not find that? Do you not find that to an extent?
I see where you're coming from. Yeah. But I think in terms of every club I've been at, and obviously Ben's alluded to, is that the physio room is in the mornings. It's where there's a little bit of life, isn't it? There's a little bit players coming in for treatment. You're getting prepped for your training session. You're sort of relaxing a little bit, but getting your work done that you need to do before you come up into the gym. There's stories shared in there that won't be shared anywhere else outside of the football club, and the stories you hear in there, right?
One of the greatest to do it, Jose Mourinho, right? We did a podcast with Eric Dyer a few months ago, yeah? He said at Spurs, Jose Mourinho would come in the morning, get his coffee, he'd come bowling in his flip-flops into the medical room, no joke, right? He said he would just lie there on the bed, somebody would start rubbing his calf or something, yeah, like he was a player, and he said, and all the lads would just be going, boss, morning, and they'd be next to him, and he was just chatting away. He said he was unreal at it, because it's the hub, that's where it goes on.
Oh, man.
You've experienced it. It's a lively place, isn't it?
Like, who would you say that since we've been here and obviously now, like, is there anyone that's been an absolute nightmare, like, to deal with?
No, listen, I don't think any players, everybody's different, aren't they? Everyone comes with a different challenge, and not one approach fits. Like, the approach with Ben wouldn't fit with you. And I think some players come in and they need that little bit of reassurance. Listen, okay, we'll assess you. You're okay. We can't find anything. You're happy to go. Other ones come in and say, listen, I don't want to be in here, but someone's made me come in and report it. So can you just have a look at it and tell me I'm okay? So everybody's different, and you gotta have a different approach. But the biggest thing for us is you got to respect everyone and communicate with them in a clear manner.
That relationship then with the owners. So, like, has that always been there? So do you feel like comfortable going to them from early on, being like, right, I'm not happy with this needs changing because my standards are here and the club's here?
The owners always listen to and always look for feedback. I think the process of contacting the owners and speaking to them has probably evolved as the club's developed. So probably in the first year and a half, access to them was direct. Or like, Kevin, what do you need? What do we need to give you? How can we help? And that was a big help in creating where we're sitting now today.
Was that like an open checkbook or not?
In the gym. Not an open checkbook,
No.
obviously. CEO at the time made sure that, listen, everything that we put in needed to make sure that it was correct and that we weren't just taking liberties with it and making sure that everything was done properly, because at the end of the day, the money that they're investing, yes, there might be sort of big earners in America, but at the end of the day, we've got a liability to the club to make sure that everything we buy is an asset and that it can be moved on to the club. So if we buy everything and we look around here, if we get a training ground or we move to a training ground, we can take the majority of this with us, and it's going to be an asset to the club and help the players perform. So
yeah, thinking ahead, to be fair, like if you look at, I don't know if you've got any pictures of the old gym.
Just
and
watch the documentary about that first episode or second episode. Horrific, isn't it?
I couldn't believe it. Like, even the gym, like the gym had carpet in it. The gym had carpet in it. I'm thinking, and I remember going in for like treatment when I broke my leg, and I'm saying to Kev's going, right, we're going to do this. We're going to go upstairs here and stuff. I'm thinking, wow, plans are like unbelievable.
Yeah, look at it now,
But like,
mate.
to be fair,
Wow.
that comes from, I think that comes from you and you setting them kind of like them standards and wanting more and driving the standards and being like, oh no, I'm not happy with where we are. I want to take the club to this level.
In fact, even when I signed, I remember signing and like we went in the medical room, and don't get me wrong, we're kind of like just about to get promoted, so it's been going a little while already now. But there's facilities in your little room anyway. Like you had all the like cryo stuff, you had the ice machines, you had all the game readies. The gym was unbelievable. I was thinking, do you know what? Like I've seen championship teams that haven't got this kind of stuff. You know, really, really good, really impressive from the get go.
yeah, probably, listen, working at a high level throughout my career, you sort of know what players need and what players demand, and that's one thing I've got to give massive credit to a number of people, really, the owners to start with and the board. They've backed everything. Like on my first couple of days here, Les Reed, Sean Harvey and the manager to come in and said, listen, we'll help you build a Premier League standard medical team, environment and facilities. And I think my first day when I came in here, Owen Jackson was here as S&C, Gemma Bamford was here as sports therapist / physio, and Kyle was here as analysis. So there was 3 staff members when I came in here, and I looked down at the office now. We've got a full-time doc. We've got Owen and Rich as S&C. We've got Ash and Ryan as sports therapists, and we got Johnny and Kat as physios. We got a second doc in case another doc's sick. We've got 3 analysis now, 2 kit men. So it's rapidly building, and if you compare us to where other championship teams are, I would say we're right up there. Yeah. And listen, the club's only continuing to develop, and we're looking to improve the department because, yeah, you look around and you think, oh yeah, that's impressive for a championship team, but we don't want to just set standards for a championship team. We want to set standards for what is elite level in the Premier League.
Do you enjoy your job? Do you I mean that genuinely. Do you love doing what you do?
Well, I've got a lot grayer since I came here, and I probably get told quite a lot by a lot of people because I keep pestering, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? But listen, I don't do it for myself. I do it for the club, and then I do it for the players, because at the end of the day, I want to be able to give the players the best platform. My team want to give the players the best platform. They work 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We're on call, go away on pre-season. It's sort of 22 hour days. Away trips with how we travel with staff members, the cryo that we do, the partnerships that we made.
Even like organising pre-season trips. I remember Kev like literally being right. To be fair, even like setting up the schedule for the week.
Yeah, because
it was so organised.
He's got to think of the wellness of the players.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You do
You turn up at the airport and players don't realise. You go pre-season tour, all right, lads, leave your bags here, we'll sort them out. Kev will be kind of like one of the last ones shipping them on the...
Yeah, I know. You and all the physios, masseurs, you're all getting on last because you're helping get the crates ready, making sure there's no equipment that can't go through the scanners, all that kind of stuff. It's a hard job, mate. But as well, you've got to have real good people skills. Because you've got, do you know what I mean? Like just of the first team players, you've got 25 players and they've got to get on with you. You've got to get on with them. They've got to trust you as well, because trust is a massive issue, isn't it, in football with players?
Don't know if everyone got on with me, did they?
That's when you know you're doing well.
On the face of it, at least. On the face of it.
Right.
Yeah. No, listen, wow. You look back to the 2 America tours, don't you? And I remember the first year we got promoted from the National League. We went to America that year, didn't we? And as soon as the season finished, Sean was on the phone to me, and the gaffer was on the phone to me. He was like, right, this is what we're doing. These are the hotels, these are the venues. Can you touch base with them? Can you organise? Oh, sorry, I forgot our nutritionist as well. He'll kill me if I don't add him in now. And all our interns as well. So they all play big, important roles. But it was like, at that stage, I was organising food menus. We were organising pools. We were organising, helping you and making sure there was footballs, towels, making sure that there was people were all on the flight, that we had the luggage all packed and the players could just get through. So it was, back then it was basically, you have to do everything because we didn't have the staff infrastructure. Like, I look at this season's tour to Australia and New Zealand, and I'm sitting there and thinking, wow, we've come a long way, because we got Adam now, head of football operations. So fair play to Adam. He takes a hell of a lot of that off my plate, which was much needed, because it was probably getting to the point where the club was getting too big and I wasn't doing enough of my job, which was something that we identified in the summer, that I needed to get back into being around the players, being in the treatment room, doing the rehab and looking at the performance side rather than the logistics. So when you look at how the club's grown, it's grown massively. Like, Adam's got new staff helping him now, player liaison. I was sorting match tickets at one stage on away trips. So I remember before one of the games, I was running around with 10 envelopes in America to hand them into a ticket office just before he's going out to warm up. So yeah, the rules changed a lot. But when I first came in, it was just, I knew what I was coming into, and it was the opportunity to build that culture and value.
Can I ask about players' body fats?
Yes.
How important do you think it is, and how much work do you do on it, and like how often would you test, for example?
Yeah, so that's again something that's changed big time since you came in. I think we probably weighed you in on skin folds when you came in, and we had an intern at the time who would do that. So we've now progressed over the sort of last 4 or 5 seasons now, where players will come in first day of season. We'll still weigh them. We'll still do body fats with the calibers, but we got a full-time nutritionist now, so it's the same person doing the test, so that increases the reliability around that. But we also now do DEXA scans, which is gold standard body fat, so we can tell people's bone densities, we can tell exactly how much fat they have, where to store it, what part of the area is, and then that enables us then to put individual plans in place for players. We'll do the skin folds every 6 weeks of the players. If there's someone identified that's high, we'll do it every 2 weeks and put them on a calorie deficit. But it's about educating players. So, right, what do you eat when you go home? Why do you eat it? Why do you need it? What foods do you need to stay away from? It's got to a level where we look at our academy players who, first year scholars, are away from home. They're 16, 17-year-old. They don't know how to cook. Right, well, let's send a nutritionist to your digs. Let's send a chef to your digs. Let's teach you how to cook. Let's teach you how to cook meals. Some first team players, let's teach you how to cook. Oh, I'm not interested in cooking. All right, can we find a performance chef that can support you on a weekly basis so that we know what food you're eating? So it's about making sure that you educate the players on healthy lifestyle, but you're giving them the opportunity to grasp it and give them that accountability themselves. And then we can, what's the saying, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. But we try and put everything in place for them.
A player that comes to mind is Jimmy Mack. It's an anomaly, no?
Yeah, well, I think Jimmy's had a great career, hasn't he? Yeah. I've known Jimmy for 18 years through the Republic of Ireland setup, and I haven't seen anybody who's had as much of an impact on him, on his food or his nutrition, as our new chef, because it's the first time in 18 years I've seen Jimmy have breakfast and lunch, because he just loves the chef so much and the food so much. Wow. Either that, he's getting old and soft.
Can I tell you a funny story about James McClean? Right, we were on West Brom pre-season training, right? And for some reason, he decided to go vegan. He went a vegan before pre-season training started in Austria with Tony Pulis, yeah? Tony Pulis' pre-seasons are famous, right? He started veganism a week before pre-season training started, yeah? We're out in Austria, we're running up the hills, mate, he nearly collapsed and died. I promise you, ask him about it. Collapsed and died, he nearly did, right? He was in a bad way for a couple of days. It knocked him so hard, right? End of veganism. That was it, done. Give me the protein, yeah? Give me the meat. That was it, back on it again.
The one thing I'd like to say for Jimmy, though, is he wins the fitness test every year.
Oh, every year.
The yo-yo test. He's the most competitive person you've met, and his body fat, I think, he's going to kill me, but I think is one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in the squad as well.
We talking low single digit?
Yeah.
Like,
So how do you can't manage a person like that? Like, in terms of, you've got, the right thing to do with everyone that kind of comes in, our injury, this is how you deal with it, this is how you deal with that. Jimmy comes in the morning, he's doing 5K.
Battle ropes.
And then he's smashing the punch bag.
I remember first day he came in, I was sat on the bike there doing a little workout. Mate, he was already on the battle ropes. Like, it's his first day. And he was in at like stupid o'clock, battle roping, sweating his tree up. I went, morning, mate. And he was saying, animal, mate, animal.
I'll give you a funny story about Jimmy, but you'll have to check with him if this is allowed to go live. So I won't say where it was or what team or anything it was with, but we were playing an away game, and Jimmy wasn't in the shape the day before for the squad, starting 11. So that was fine. The game wasn't until the following night. So I'm walking away, and next minute I just hear this pounding. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? So I walk around and look in the corner, and there's Jimmy. And he's just off the treadmill. I was like, Jimmy, what are you doing? There's a game tonight. He's like, I just had to do 12K because I'm not playing tonight. And I was like, Jimmy, you could be on after 2 minutes. He's like, nah, I won't be playing tonight. Anyway, listen, there was a couple of incidents happened, and a few things changed. He ends up playing the game, starting it, and playing the full 90 minutes. And I think he covered another 12, 13K in the game. And you ask him how he feels after the game. He's like, yeah, fine. Why wouldn't I be? He's like, well, you just done 24, 25K
half
today.
Marathon.
He's like, nah, no worries.
Unbelievable.
So you need to check with him if he's happy to share that
Just
story.
quickly, with regard to body fats, have you ever had a repeat offender, somebody's had to get right, mate? You're getting fined here now. You're taking the mick, all right?
There's been a few of them, yeah.
It's good though. But it
them.
gets to the point where you have to fine them because it's the only way you can try and hurt them.
The only way you can hurt players these days is you either find them or you take time off them, isn't it? So it's like, right, you're coming in the morning or you're staying late. That's the two things players hate, isn't it?
You can't help this, but they don't play. That's the other thing.
Well, I don't. That's up to the gaffer. But no, in fairness, the gaffer here is really, really switched on to it. He wants to know everything that we do about players, about the fitness test, about body fats, and he's probably one of the first ones. He'll come to me and he'll go, is that player carrying a little bit? That player, and I was like, not massively, but let me go check. And well, maybe they're slightly under high. So he's like, yeah, I just thought so. He's got a great eye for detail around that, and he doesn't miss anything. But they're a great coaching staff to work with, as you're well aware of.
Kev, honestly, it's been class. One last question: what has been the strangest injury that's ever ruled a player out from a game?
Oh,
apart from yours.
Apart from mine, that never ruled me out.
Wow, there's been lots of them over the years. Probably a lot of funny stories that I'm not going to say on camera because players will probably know who I'm talking about. The strangest one, whoa, that's a great question. I've seen a strange injury that's not ruled a player out. We were travelling to a Premier League game and we were going via train, and we were on the way to the hotel, and players were messing about as you do, yeah. And he fell down the steps and split his head open.
Where did he fall down the steps?
At the train station before we get on the train.
Euston Station.
Is there like a commotion then? Like everyone like, we need Kev, come here.
I was already on the train, sitting down, watching my iPad probably, ready for the trip. But it ended up in A&E in hospital. No. Player got a number of stitches, a nice big wound on the side of the head. Actually, if I think back, social media was probably just coming around at the time, and I think someone took a picture of the player and might have posted it online, and everyone thought the player was ruled out. But that helped us because they scored the winning goal on Saturday.
So he played and scored.
Played the full 90, I think,
so
and scored. In I think 6 or 7 stitches, and out that afternoon back down, joined the team hotel.
See that bravery that is, yeah? That's somebody that just soldiers on when they get a little injury.
Yeah,
don't get stretch it off, all right?
They come off and then they play the next game. It sounds relatable.
Kev, you're the man, mate.
Kev, thanks very much.
Brilliant, guys. Thanks very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Mate. Top man.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Well done, mate.